Welcome to this episode of the Palmetto Guardian. I'm Sergeant Tim Andrews, and today I have a couple of special guests. If y'all could introduce yourselves.
I'm Sergeant Hall from the PERSEC office. I work with personnel security and suitability.
I'm Sergeant Tiffany Mullen. I'm also the Special Security Representative and the State Adjudicator.
Well, thank y'all for being here. And today we wanted to talk about personnel security, especially with security clearances. So for security clearances, I know for everyone joining, you have to have a security clearance. Is that right?
That's absolutely correct. The DODM 5200.02 came out in 2017, requiring all military members to hold at least a Tier 3 investigation, which is a secret.
Okay. So with that, and so with like people joining the Guard, and they got to go through the process and go through background checks and all that, and as well as so how long does your security clearance last?
So for secret clearances, they last for 10 years, and top secret clearances are 5 years with a 1-year extension right now. So
Okay.
6 years.
So in the years past, I've seen I've had folks that I've had to watch have to go through updating, and like comes up to their 10-year in the Guard, and they have to update their security clearance. And it's a pretty lengthy process for them to do it. So for someone who's about to come up and they're like, well, dang, my security clearance is coming up and I need to update it. How would you give advice to someone that wants to update their security clearance, and where would you go?
So basically, the individual would gather the last 10 years of addresses, phone numbers, family members, anybody, neighbors, in order to start figuring out where they need to put on the SF-86, because the SF-86 is going to go back 10 years, and they're going to ask financial, criminal, your neighbors, where you went to school, and your military status.
Okay. Here's another thing. When folks are joining the Guard, I remember recruiters talking about debt, and what is there a certain like number of debt? Because I remember they were pretty adamant about they were always asking when we had to do RSP about debt, how much debt do you have when people were joining. So could y'all tell us about that?
I think it's a common misconception to some people because they hear debt and they don't understand why debt could count against them. So delinquent debt is what they really worry about as far as determining your suitability. So you can have as much debt as you want to have. Like, you can have nice things and you can owe on things, but if you are going to have those things in your name, you need to be paying on them. So the maximum amount of delinquent debt you can have is $10,000. That's when it's going to send like a ping to DoD CAF, and they're going to reach out asking for information and records for your payment on those things. You really don't need to have any delinquent debt unless you kind of want to explain things and go through a little lengthy process with our office, but it's really just delinquent debt that you need to worry about. As long as you're paying on your things, you're good.
And for people talking about security clearances, how can you lose your security clearance other than it expiring and someone not following up and updating it? How can you lose your security clearance?
So the way you lose your security clearance is there's numerous steps before you lose your security clearance. Mm-hmm. It starts at the CE alert, say you got arrested for a DUI or something. You don't respond to that. It moves to an RFI packet. It gives you another chance to respond. Then it moves to a statement of reasons. And then if you still don't respond to that, then it goes into a letter of revocation or a letter of denial. And that process takes about 2 years for you to be able to lose it. So if you don't respond to any of the notifications, then yes, you're going to lose your security clearance. 9 times out of 10, you're not going to lose your security clearance for the financial, for getting arrested for a DUI or popping hot on a drug test. It's when you don't respond to the packets is when you lose your security clearance.
So what advice would you give someone to that are maintaining their security clearance and just want to keep a steady record with it? What would someone have to do for that?
So if you have derogatory information and you know that something could potentially pop up, my first piece of advice would be to just go ahead and self-report it, because if you can get ahead of the issue, then you're able to respond. You have more time to respond, and it shows initiative that you're reaching out to try to mitigate those issues. Secondly, if you don't self-report and there is an alert that comes out, be responsive and stay on top of it, and once you submit your like supporting documentation that is requested from you, be sure to make sure your unit submits it and make sure that it's, you know, being tracked to the highest level so that you can make sure you maintain your clearance and it doesn't fall through the cracks at any level.
And for someone who wants to get in contact with y'all, how would they reach you? It's
quite simple. For GKO, you can find us under the J2 webpage. And then also we have a phone number. It's 299-4080, and you'll reach any one of us in the office. And there's 6 of us working.
Well, I appreciate y'all coming on the podcast and giving people information about personnel security. And for those that are listening, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.